And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power.
In the book of Revelation of the end times, the times in which we are living, the Apostle John speaks of 2 beasts, the beast of the sea and the beast of the earth. One is not as the other, but together they enslave the earth for a short time, and each with their own qualities, we can start to identify what they are. In this segment, we'll look at the beast of the earth. In identifying this beast, we'll be looking at 7 symbols, which I believe are foundational for understanding. 1. As the beast of Revelation relates to the beast of Daniel, we find that the symbol of a beast in prophecy represents a kingdom. Daniel 7:23. Thus he said, "As for the 4th beast, there shall be a 4th kingdom on the earth, which shall be different from all the kingdoms." 2. In Revelation 13:13, we see that the first beast of Revelation rises out of the sea. Later in Revelation 17:15, when an angel describes much of the imagery that John witnessed, it says the sea or waters that you saw are peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages. Although we will not analyze the beast of the sea in this video, Europe fits this description very well. The beginnings or rise of European countries did indeed split into multitudes of peoples, nations, and languages. This is characteristically different than the second beast of Revelation. In 13:11, it says that this beast rises out of the earth, as the earth is the antithesis of the sea, and the sea represents a multitude of peoples, nations, and languages. We can foresee that the rise or beginning of this kingdom was a homogeneous people of one language and perhaps one nation. 3. Can we tell how old this kingdom is? Generally, yes. Revelation 13:11 states that this beast rising out of the earth is like a lamb. The Bible makes use of both the terms lamb and sheep, and for specific purposes. The term lamb is synonymous with youth, while a sheep is more mature. This is purposeful, as John describes the beast of the sea as having characteristics of a leopard, lion, and bear, all adult beasts. Therefore, the beast of the sea is an older and more established kingdom, while the beast of the earth is a relatively new kingdom. 4. What other symbolism does the lamb provide? Being that Revelation 13:11 says that it is like a lamb, but speaks as a dragon, we can quite clearly understand that this kingdom is disguising itself as Christ-like. However, its true actions or speech is that of the devil. 5. Again, looking at Revelation 13:11, we see that this new Christ-like kingdom has 2 horns. Throughout the Bible, horns represent power and authority. Therefore, this kingdom has divided its power into 2 separate powers. 6. In Revelation 13, the beast of the sea has 7 heads and 10 horns, with 10 crowns upon those horns. You will notice that the beast of the earth has 2 horns, but mentions no crowns. In the Bible, the symbol of a crown represents delegation or bestowing of authority, privilege, or royalty. Therefore, this kingdom that has split itself into 2 powers does not have a single person of authority over each of its powers. 7. This beast is exceedingly powerful and enslaves the world, so much so that it can kill off anyone who does not worship the first beast before it, and makes those who would follow it to have a mark on their forehead or right hand. The beast of the earth's loyalty is to the beast of the sea and the harlot that rides it. If you want to see definitive proof that the harlot or anti-church controlling the beast of the sea is indeed the Vatican, click on the video on this screen or in the YouTube description box to watch my other video. So, we should see the beast of the earth kingdom make strong ties or loyalties to the harlot church of the Vatican. So then, who is this kingdom? By now, you should realize that there are some stunning alignments with the United States of America. If you don't see that just yet, then let's see why. It's common knowledge that the quote-unquote discovery of America was called the New World. As European explorers migrated to this landmass, they found that compared to Europe, it was largely unpopulated. As they colonized the sparsely populated New World, a kingdom was in the making, which was composed of a homogeneous group of people that spoke in a common English language. As the lamb represents youth, so does the United States. It was only officially recognized as an independent state on February 6, 1778 by France. Again, with the symbol of a lamb representing Christ, we see that the United States' origin was Christ-like. The very first act of Congress in 1774 was an act of prayer. By law, it was ruled in 1892 in the case of Church of the Holy Trinity versus the U.S. that our institutions are empathetically Christian. Even today, President Trump is pushing a narrative to get back to our Judeo-Christian values. But is the government of this kingdom acting Christ-like? Absolutely not. As we know, the U.S. has a mighty industrial military complex. We have military personnel in 177 countries. Out of the entire world's expenditure on military, we spend near 36% of it, with a near contender being China at only 13%. And even outside of the military control, culturally, the United States has intertwined itself with the world through Hollywood. Hollywood and the satanic Illuminati influences have seeped into almost every pore of the world. This is probably one of the reasons that Iran calls the US the Great Satan. I also mentioned that the Lamb had two horns, or two divisions of power. As we know, the US has historically claimed a separation between church and state. In 1802, Thomas Jefferson wrote that the US would make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state. And with these separate powers of church and state, we recognize that there is no central authority that controls either. With regards to the state, the United States is a republic that has three branches of government. With regards to the power of the church, the US had escaped the power of the papacy, which had allowed Protestantism to flourish. So again, no singular crown that is bestowed upon either power. And lastly, the beast of the earth is exceedingly great and powerful. In addition to the military and cultural influences that the United States has, it also maintains the world's reserve currency. And as the beast of the earth has the power to control buying and selling through the mark, it makes very logical sense that the US would be in a prime position to make this happen via currency manipulation. Taking all 7 points that I showed you, it is near undeniable what role the US plays in Bible prophecy. But to drive that point home, I mentioned that the US would make an image to the first beast before it, the beast that is controlled by the harlot church of the Vatican. All throughout US history, Rome has been engaging with the US to bring its people back under the influence and control of Rome. Thomas P. Melody, US ambassador to the Vatican during the Clinton administration, said, "I believe that the United States, as the world's only superpower, and the Holy See, as the only worldwide moral political sovereignty, have significant roles to play in the future. Their actions will impact the lives of people in all parts of the globe. Indeed, this is a true statement that will soon be fulfilled by biblical prophecy. Pope Francis is steaming across the world to unite religions and Christianity under Roman Catholicism. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, who has a huge amount of police support, a huge amount of military support, a love of war and authority, and has more generals in his cabinet than any other president since World War II, is steadily making war plans and promoting a false Christianity. The Pope and Donald Trump, despite media headlines, have come together, a topic that I went into great detail with in my video displayed on the screen if you want to click and view that later. As I began this video, I stated that we are in the end times. You should now recognize that we are indeed in that time, and that those living in the US are living within the confines of the beast of the earth. If you have not found Jesus Christ, I pray that you seek him out in these times. It is by grace through faith in him that you can only seek refuge and be saved from this storm. If you've enjoyed this video, I ask for your support on Patreon, as nearly all my videos have been demonetized. Link to my Patreon account and the perks that it brings are in the YouTube description box. Thank you and God bless. This is Mike with On Point Preparedness. See you all later.
They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.